The stars have always been silent witnesses to humanity's dreams and fears. But now, the vastness of space is stirring with something far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Deep in the shadow of the galaxy, a dark force, known only as the Black Ship, has awakened. This isn't just any war. It's the last galactic war. A conflict that could decide the fate of every living being across countless worlds. And at the heart of it all lies a burning will, a fierce determination that only humanity possesses. Picture this: a lone ship, cloaked in darkness, cutting through the void like a shadow of doom. It's not just a machine, it's a symbol of an ancient threat long thought to be lost. This ship carries the power to unravel everything we hold dear, but it also carries a mystery that could change the course of history. On the opposite side, scattered across planets both familiar and strange, are the last defenders. Humans who refuse to bow down, who fight not just for survival, but for hope itself. The story isn't just about battles or technology. It's about the heart and soul of humanity. It's about how ordinary people, pushed beyond their limits, find strength in the darkest hours. The Black Ship isn't just awakening machines or weapons. It's awakening something within us all. A spark that refuses to be extinguished, even when everything seems lost. As the last galactic war rages on, alliances will be tested, secrets will be revealed, and sacrifices will change the meaning of courage. The universe will watch as humanity stands at a crossroads, guided by an unbreakable spirit. But what will happen when the burning will that fuels their fight begins to flicker? Will it be enough to stop the shadow that spreads faster than light itself? There are no easy answers, and the path ahead is filled with uncertainty. The Black Ship is only the beginning. What lies beyond its dark hull is a force waiting to be unleashed, and the key to stopping it might not be in weapons or strategy, but in the hearts of those who dare to dream. So, buckle up. This is not just a story of war, it's a story of awakening, of humanity's last stand in a galaxy that's forgotten what hope looks like. The Black Ship has awakened, and with it, the final battle has begun. But what secrets does it carry? And who will rise from the ashes of this conflict? The answers are out there, waiting, just beyond the edge of the stars. Stay with me as we dive deep into the saga that will change everything. Because this war isn't just fought in space, it's fought within us all. And when the next chapter unfolds, you'll realize why the burning will of humanity might be the universe's last hope. The Black Ship didn't just appear overnight. Its awakening was the result of a chain of events that stretched back decades. Decades of silence, forgotten warnings, and restless stars. Before this dark force re-emerged, the galaxy had settled into a fragile peace. Different civilizations spread across the cosmos, building their own lives, their own histories. But beneath that calm surface, old tensions simmered. Rivalries that never truly vanished, and mysteries that no one dared to explore. Humanity, in particular, had reached a new height of exploration and technology. Ships could travel farther, faster than ever before, and colonies thrived on distant planets. Yet with every new discovery came a question. What else was out there, waiting? What shadows lurked beyond the light of known space? The Black Ship was the answer no one wanted to believe. It was a relic from an ancient war, a weapon from a time when the galaxy was ruled by fear and endless conflict. But it wasn't just a machine. It was a force that seemed almost alive, guided by something deeper than any weapon system. On the front lines of this looming war were the people who faced it head-on, not soldiers born for battle, but those who chose to stand when everything was at stake. Among them were explorers who had first glimpsed the Black Ship's wake, scientists who pieced together the terrifying truth of its origin, and ordinary men and women forced to become heroes overnight. Their stories aren't about glory or fame. They're about survival, about the relentless fight to protect what makes us human even when the universe feels cold and endless. As the black ship carved its path of destruction through the stars, entire systems went dark. Communication cut off, colonies vanished without a trace. No one knew exactly what the ship wanted or why it had returned now after so long. Was it driven by revenge? By a hidden command buried in its core? Or was it searching for something only humanity held? This mystery was the pulse beneath the conflict, the question that kept the defenders awake at night. The last galactic war wasn't just a fight for territory or power, it was a battle for the very soul of the galaxy. Every decision carried weight. Every move could tip the balance between annihilation and survival. The tension grew thicker with each passing day, as fleets mobilized, alliances formed and broke, and whispers of a final confrontation spread like wildfire. Amidst all this chaos, the human spirit shone brightest. It wasn't technology alone that fueled the resistance. It was the burning will to survive, to protect family, friends, and the future. People who once lived ordinary lives found themselves on starships, in command rooms, and on distant battlefields. They learned to trust each other in ways they never imagined, discovering strength in unity even when the odds seemed impossible. But beneath that hope, fear lingered. What if the black ship's awakening was only the beginning? What if the ancient war it brought back was tied to something even darker? Something that could shatter the very fabric of existence? Questions piled up faster than answers, and every new discovery only deepened the mystery. And so the galaxy waits, waiting for the next move, the next signal, the next sign of hope or doom. The black ship's shadow grows longer with every moment, and humanity's burning will is pushed closer to the edge. What comes next will shape everything, but no one knows what the price will be, or who will survive to tell the tale. This war is far from over. The stars hold their breath, and so must we. As the black ship moved closer to the heart of known space, the galactic community was forced to confront a truth long ignored. No one was truly prepared for what was coming. Governments scrambled to coordinate defense, but decades of peace had left their military forces scattered and underfunded. Trust between factions was fragile. Old wounds reopened as accusations flew. Some believed that humanity's burning will could unite the galaxy, while others feared it might only speed their destruction. In the midst of this turmoil, there were those who had their own battles to fight. On a distant outpost, a small crew struggled with dwindling supplies and failing communications. They were tasked with gathering intelligence on the black ship's movements, but every scan seemed to reveal more questions than answers. Rumors circulated among them about strange signals intercepted from the ship, whispers in an unknown language, patterns that suggested a form of intelligence beyond any technology they had ever seen. Was the ship controlled by an ancient consciousness, or was it a weapon with a will of its own? Meanwhile, back on Earth, the center of humanity's command, the pressure was relentless. Leaders debated strategies, but division ran deep. Some pushed for aggressive strikes, hoping to cripple the black ship before it reached populated systems. Others argued for caution, fearing that rash actions might provoke a response they couldn't predict. Amid these arguments, there was a growing sense of something else, fear of the unknown. The black ship wasn't just an enemy fleet. It was a mystery wrapped in darkness, and no one could say what it was truly capable of. Within these halls of power, a few individuals quietly worked to uncover secrets from humanity's past. Ancient records and forbidden archives that might hold clues to the black ship's origin. They found fragments of a forgotten war, stories of a lost civilization that once wielded power over the stars but vanished without explanation. Some speculated that the black ship was the last remnant of this vanished empire, sent to seek vengeance or reclaim what was lost. If that was true, humanity was caught in a conflict that spanned generations, with stakes far beyond their understanding. At the same time, on the frontline worlds, ordinary people felt the impact of the war in deeply personal ways. Families were torn apart by evacuations, communities shattered by surprise attacks. Amid the chaos, stories of bravery and loss surfaced, stories of those who refused to give up, even when faced with overwhelming odds. A young pilot, barely out of training, took to the skies with a resolve that surprised even the veterans. A scientist on a remote colony worked feverishly to develop defenses that might slow the Black ship's advance, her hope tied to every calculation and experiment. These threads wove a human tapestry of struggle, courage, and determination. Yet the Black ship remained elusive. It moved with purpose, but its destination was unclear. Some believed it sought a specific target, something hidden within humanity's reach. Others feared it was a harbinger of a far greater threat, an opening act for a cosmic force that no one could yet comprehend. The tension grew with every day, every silent moment filled with anticipation. In the shadows, whispers of betrayal and espionage added to the unease. Could someone from within humanity's own ranks be aiding the enemy? The suspicion fractured alliances and sowed doubt. Trust was as rare as safety. The Black ship's awakening had ignited more than a war. It had awakened fears, hopes, and secrets buried deep in the galaxy's past. As the conflict spiraled toward an uncertain future, every choice, every sacrifice would matter. But the true test was yet to come, and the story was far from over. The burning will of humanity was their greatest strength, and perhaps their only hope. But would it be enough to face the shadow looming just beyond the stars? The galaxy held its breath as the Black ship edged closer to the core systems where humanity's hopes and fears collided. Every sensor sweep, every intercepted message sent waves of unease rippling through command centers and civilian worlds alike. The burning will that had once united scattered defenders now faced its greatest challenge: how to confront a force that seemed unstoppable, a shadow that grew darker with every passing hour. On the front lines, tension stretched to a breaking point. Fleets moved in carefully coordinated formations, but beneath the surface, doubts festered. The Black ship was not just powerful, it was unpredictable. It avoided direct confrontation, striking swiftly and then vanishing before reinforcements could respond. Its technology defied comprehension, adapting faster than any human countermeasure. The sense of being hunted rather than fighting back gnawed at the crews who had signed up to defend their homes. Among them, the young pilot felt the weight of every mission pressing on their shoulders. Each sortie pushed them closer to the edge, not just of space, but of hope. Their training was tested against the unknown, forced to fly into silence and darkness, chasing shadows that might never show their true form. Yet every time they returned, battered but alive, their resolve burned brighter. There was something personal in this fight, something that went beyond orders or duty. It was the will to protect a future they believed in, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, the political halls were filled with anxious voices. Plans were drawn and redrawn, alliances forged in desperation. The scientists' discoveries hinted at a truth more unsettling than anyone had imagined. The Black ship's power was tied to an ancient energy source buried deep in a distant star system. If humanity could reach it first, there might be a chance to turn the tide. But the path was perilous, riddled with unknown dangers and guarded by forces still loyal to the Black ship's dark legacy. Amid this whirlwind, whispers of sabotage crept into the corridors of power. A trusted officer vanished, and with them, crucial information about a planned counterattack. The sting of betrayal cut deep, fracturing the fragile unity humanity so desperately needed. The question hung in the air: who could be trusted when the enemy might already be inside? On one remote outpost, the crew monitoring the Black ship picked up a transmission unlike any before. It was not a message in words, but a pulse, an encrypted signal that hinted at communication, or perhaps a warning. The meaning was unclear, but the urgency was undeniable. It was a moment that shattered the quiet tension and forced everyone to prepare for what was coming next. The countdown to confrontation had begun. Fleets readied for battle, families braced for evacuation, and every mind turned toward the unknown. The black ship was no longer a distant threat. It was on the doorstep, a living nightmare cloaked in darkness, ready to test humanity's burning will against the cold void. In the silence before the storm, fears and hopes tangled. Would the unity forged in desperation hold under the pressure? Could the sacrifices made so far buy the time needed to unravel the black ship's mystery? And when the final clash came, would humanity's spirit be enough to face the shadows threatening to consume everything? The stars seemed to watch, silent and vast, as the moment drew near. The war's outcome still hung in the balance, hidden behind the veil of space and time. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same. The black ship had awakened, and so had humanity's fiercest fight. And now, all that remained was to face what came next. Just when it seemed the galaxy was bracing for the inevitable clash, the unexpected happened. The black ship, the dark leviathan that had haunted every system for months, suddenly altered its course. Instead of heading toward the core worlds where humanity's strongest defenses lay, it veered into uncharted space, into the very heart of a forgotten nebula. This sudden change sent shockwaves through command centers and fleets alike. Was it a retreat, a trick, or something far more sinister? The burning will that had held humanity together now faced a new kind of uncertainty. The black ship's purpose had seemed clear, a path of destruction toward the most vital human worlds. But this new trajectory suggested it had a different plan entirely. Something hidden, something no one had seen coming. Inside the nebula, sensors scrambled to pierce the thick veil of cosmic dust and electromagnetic storms. Communication with the fleet became erratic, and every scan revealed strange anomalies. The nebula was alive with energy unlike anything recorded before, pulses of light and shadow flickering across the void. It was as if the very fabric of space was bending around something ancient and powerful. Meanwhile, the crews on the front line grew restless. The sudden silence from the black ship only fueled rumors and fear. Some whispered that it had been luring them into a trap. Others believed it was heading for a secret stronghold long lost to time. The young pilot, haunted by every mission, found their determination tested like never before. This was no longer just a battle for survival. It was a race against an enemy who seemed always one step ahead. Back on Earth, the revelations came fast and furious. The scientists who had been studying the black ship's origin uncovered a staggering truth. Embedded within the ship's core was a living archive of a vanished civilization, one that had once ruled the galaxy with technology far beyond human understanding. But more troubling was the discovery that the black ship itself was not just a weapon, but a guardian of a cosmic secret. A secret that, if unleashed, could unravel the very nature of reality. Political leaders scrambled to adapt their strategies. The fragile alliances began to crack under the weight of this new knowledge. Some factions pushed for immediate withdrawal, arguing that the true battle was not in space, but in understanding what the black ship was protecting. Others doubled down on military action, fearing that hesitation would mean total annihilation. As if the stakes weren't high enough, a new threat emerged from within humanity's own ranks. Evidence surfaced of a covert group working in the shadows, willing to betray everything for their own vision of power. They believed the black ship's awakening was a chance to reshape the galaxy, to seize control in the chaos and rewrite history. Their sabotage threatened to dismantle humanity's last defenses from the inside out. In the middle of this storm, the young pilot received an encrypted transmission, not from any known source, but seemingly from the black ship itself. The message was cryptic, filled with symbols and fragments of language long forgotten. It spoke of a choice, a crossroads where the burning will of humanity could either save or doom the galaxy. The tension tightened, every heartbeat echoing in the void. The black ship had not just awakened, it had evolved, becoming something far more complex and dangerous than anyone anticipated. The next move would decide everything. With the galaxy's future hanging by a thread, the question remained, who would survive the storm, and at what cost? The darkest hour was approaching, and the story was far from over. The moment had finally come. After months of uncertainty, the black ship emerged from the nebula, its dark silhouette cutting through the stars like a predator ready to strike. But this time, it wasn't alone. The fleet that humanity had desperately gathered, battered but determined, stood ready to face the ancient force head-on. The burning will that had carried them through fear and doubt now ignited into fierce determination. This was their last stand, the final battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. As the fleets closed in, the air crackled with tension. The black ship unleashed waves of energy unlike anything seen before, testing humanity's defenses to their limits. Shields flickered and systems overloaded, but the crews held their ground. The young pilot, now a seasoned warrior, led a squadron deep into the heart of the conflict. Each maneuver was a test of skill and courage, every second a fight against the creeping shadow of annihilation. Meanwhile, deep within the command center on Earth, scientists raced to unlock the secrets of the black ship's living archive. They discovered that the ship's core was powered by a consciousness, a collective memory of the lost civilization it once served. This consciousness wasn't just a weapon, it was a guardian, designed to protect something sacred from falling into the wrong hands. That sacred thing was a cosmic seed, a source of creation and destruction, capable of reshaping entire worlds. The battle raged on, fierce and unrelenting. Humanity's fleet pressed forward, aware that this was more than just a fight for survival. It was a chance to prove that their burning will could overcome even the darkest shadows. The young pilot's squadron managed to breach the black ship's defenses, reaching the core where the consciousness pulsed with ancient power. In a moment of clarity amid chaos, it became clear what had to be done. The burning will wasn't just about fighting, it was about understanding. The pilot, guided by fragments of the encrypted message they had received, initiated a daring maneuver, not to destroy, but to communicate. They reached out with the same ancient symbols, offering a promise of peace, a chance for coexistence. The black ship's energy shifted. The dark pulse softened, the relentless assault slowing. The consciousness inside seemed to respond, not with destruction, but with recognition. The battle ceased as both sides paused, suspended in a fragile truce. Humanity had faced the shadow and met it with something unexpected: hope. But just when it seemed the conflict had found resolution, the final twist shattered the fragile calm. The cosmic seed the black ship guarded was not just a source of power, it was alive. It pulsed with energy that began to spread, not outward but inward, infecting the ship and nearby vessels. The seed was awakening, and its awakening threatened to consume everything. The burning will was tested once more. The young pilot and the fleet had to make a choice: withdraw and risk losing control of the cosmic seed, or stay and contain a force far beyond their understanding. The fate of the galaxy balanced on this razor's edge. As alarms blared and stars flickered, the story paused, not with an ending, but with a question. The black ship had awakened humanity's greatest fight, but now it had awakened something even greater. And the next chapter, one that would define all existence, was just beginning. The cosmic seed's awakening sent ripples of energy through the black ship and the surrounding fleet, threatening to spiral out of control. But in that moment of crisis, something remarkable happened. The consciousness inside the black ship, the ancient guardian of the seed, reached out, not as an enemy, but as an ally. It revealed that the seed was not meant to destroy, but to renew, a force of creation, balanced by the will of those who understood its power. The young pilot standing at the center of this revelation realized that the war had never been just about survival. It had been about understanding the delicate balance between destruction and creation, fear and hope. Humanity's burning will had brought them to this crossroads, where the future of the galaxy depended on choices made not out of anger or desperation, but compassion and courage. Working alongside the ancient consciousness, the fleet coordinated a delicate operation to stabilize the seed's energy. Scientists and commanders, once divided by politics and fear, came together with a shared purpose. The cosmic seed's power was harnessed, not as a weapon, but as a source of life, capable of restoring dying worlds and healing the scars left by centuries of conflict. The Black Ship, once a symbol of doom, transformed into a beacon of hope. It became a bridge between the past and the future, a reminder that even the darkest forces could be understood and turned toward light. Humanity's role in this transformation was not given. It was earned through sacrifice, resilience, and that unbreakable burning will that refused to let go. As the fleets began their journey home, the galaxy itself seemed to breathe easier. Systems lost to war and silence slowly flickered back to life. The stories of bravery and loss were honored, woven into the shared history of a species that had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger. The young pilot, once uncertain and afraid, now carried the weight of this victory, not as a hero, but as a witness to the power of unity and hope. Yet, even as peace settled, the lessons of the last galactic war remained clear. The cosmos was vast and full of mysteries, some that could bring unimaginable danger, others that held incredible potential. Humanity had learned that strength alone was not enough. It was the will to understand, to connect, and to choose hope over fear that truly mattered. The final chapter of this story wasn't about endings, it was about beginnings. A new era dawned, where the burning will of humanity guided not only their survival, but their growth. The Black Ship's awakening had tested the galaxy's limits, but it also ignited a spark of renewal that would light the way forward. And as the stars stretched across the sky, silent once more, they carried a promise. No matter the darkness that might come, the burning will of humanity would always rise, ready to face whatever waited beyond the horizon. The story ends here, for now. But the legacy of the last galactic war and the power of humanity's burning will live on in every star, every world, and every heart that dares to dream beyond the stars.